Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Nerd Night Roundtable. We got Gorilla's Random Thoughts, Sci-Fi Sustain, and Admiral Teague with us today. How you guys doing?
I'm
Pretty
doing all
good.
You
right.
know what? I'm feeling great. I had McDonald's for lunch, so I'm filled with trans fat.
You're
I
lucky you kept
identify.
it down.
You know what? You are what you eat. I identify as the Hamburglar.
Well, that's if you're gonna be any one of those McDonald's mascots, it's probably the best one.
Well, I
The
mean, the
white
body count
syrup.
goes to the clown, right? I mean, he makes the Joker look
Yeah,
like an amateur.
that and that purple thing.
And I guess our pre-show conversation has me leaning towards 51% and increasing no on bothering to see Prometheus tonight.
well,
I wouldn't
I'm
bother
sorry,
with it.
not Prometheus. I'm sorry, Romulus.
yeah. Well, Teague,
Why did they cross it over with Star Trek anyway? Like, why are the aliens on Romulus?
I have no idea,
Is
but
Patrick Stewart in it? What era Star Trek movie is Alien Romulus?
just a sequel to try and make money, probably.
Yeah, judging by the quality the franchise had recently, it's in the new Trek era.
You know what?
Yeah.
I want to see Fast and the Furious versus Alien.
Well,
I'd
do
pay to see Vin Diesel have a chest burster come out of him.
well,
I think it'd be more like he would run the chest burster down like with like a Tokyo drift in his car and like knock it out the airlift. And then like
Airlock, you
say
mean?
family, then say family.
I do have a question to all you guys that's seen it already or haven't. What have you guys heard of the reviews on the movie? Like, is it mixed or is it positive somewhat?
I heard the worst of mixed reviews that it's really good and then explodes in the final act to quote go full retard.
I have heard nothing.
I heard it's a good movie.
Non-entity.
From what I've heard, you walk in and you start watching it and you're like, wow, it's good. Oh my God, they repaired so much damage. Hey, this is going somewhere. And then in the last few minutes, they lose the thread and it falls apart. And you're like, what the hell happened? And the end is so retarded that it nullifies anything good that happened. Like they fucked up the from the middle to the end is a disaster. But I don't think this one's on Ridley Scott now, is it? It's someone else who has to live with this one.
Well, Admiral, tell me, what are your standards for the alien franchise? Are they in the gutter, or are they slightly above in the gutter from the last movie you saw? Like that made you have the reputation and the feeling of it.
The last one I saw was so intellectually insulting that I have a very low regard for the Alien franchise. Alien Prometheus was the most self-important, horrible piece of shit I've ever seen in my life. They never explained the pretentious opening sequence. We're left to wonder what that thing does. Is it a giant? Is it not a giant? We don't know. We only see it alone, and it's CGI. I mean, is it one of those giants? Is it one of the engineers? Is it somebody who just came to the planet? All we know is that somehow by self-deleting itself, its DNA gets into the water, which then has no effect on anything because for other reasons people become the alien. So like an opening scene with no reason to it, a rug pull reveal in like the late part of the movie, like the middle of the beginning of the end, like the end of the middle. We rug pull and we find Fried Chicken Man is there. Guy Pearce is like a 2,000-year-old guy walking with an exoskeleton, and he's gonna take this on in his own hands. And then the movie gets dumber and dumber. And for a moment there, they start teasing that Charlize may also be a replicant, but they kill her, so it doesn't matter. And then like violence, drugs, sex, end movie with conveniently found ship from another race that she saw, species that she somehow figures out, and that's it. It's really fucking weird and bad. So with that movie being so, and Masquerades is a good movie. It takes like till the middle of the next day to decipher how much has been thrown at you and realize that it's really, really bad.
I started having my doubts the second they showed the bald guy.
At the very beginning.
I never wanted to know what the space jockey was.
Are you talking about when they found the giant skeleton, or you mean in the what we could only call the prelude, where they see the something drink poison, and then we cut to the cave, the humans in a cave in the 21st century exploring, or 23rd century maybe, who knows?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're
Never
talking
want to
about like
know. Yeah.
Yeah,
The second they
LV
showed
5799 or whatever that other planet is with that has aliens.
And hey, Mikey.
Although
How you doing,
halfway through the
Mikey?
movie, like a broken plot thread gets picked up. Like they like edited it out like to be the introduction of it, but like somewhere in the middle of the movie, like through magical thinking, and it just I guess it makes enough sense that I don't scoff at it. One of the characters says it's not their planet. Why would it ever be their planet? Because what it seems to be is a weapons development facility. And we know much more than him, so the idea that he figured it out is ridiculous, but it does make sense. So we're like, I get it, yeah. So that movie relied a little too much on bullshit.
Hey, Lemon, welcome.
Hey, Scurvy.
So I guess the long answer to your question is it could go either direction with aliens. And hello to all people in the chat. Hello, Mikey. Hello,
Gap.
Good to see you.
Hey,
My
Gap.
friend. It's good to see Moon Pies and Deja Vu's mom. Hello. Gorilla
that'd be Mikey using his wife's
a great
account.
host. Okay. Well, Gorilla's a great host. Thank you. And
I'm not hosting.
21.
Oh, sorry.
42.
Yeah, I take that back. You're not a good host anyway, but you are a really nice host.
2 decades after the original and still nearly 4 decades before James Cameron's Aliens in 2179.
So in other words,
that is bad timing.
So in other words, it's a sequel prequel. In other words,
it's a sequel to a sequel. Wait, hold on. It's a sequel to a sequel. That's a prequel to a prequel. Holy shit!
So basically, I said it correctly. It's a sequel to a prequel. I mean, it's a sequel to Aliens.
I think you're right. But I mean, I think we could also take it a step further because I know they plan another one in this continuity if they can squeeze it out. The last thing they're going to do is jump ahead of Ripley. That's as much intelligence as they're ever going to have in their story. They're always just going to prequel it and try to like subvert it. They just won't give us. They could just start over with anyone. Like at this point, killing Newt looks like a really bad mistake.
Yeah, and I do have a question genuinely. If this new movie takes place in the past, how the hell do the humans or the evil company Yutani not know about the aliens already? Instead, they consider them in Aliens.
I would be ready to say that in the Alien single movie, 1979's first one, that the way they pulled them off course, it does give indication that if they don't know about this specific alien, they know there's shit out there that they have interest in.
Yeah,
they know for sure there's some stuff out there, and definitely like everybody on this ship has seen things like insect life on other planets. Maybe nothing great, but stuff.
Yeah, I believe in the comics and some of the video games, they already saw out the fact that Weyland Yutani knew exactly what they were looking for, and that's why the ship got diverted. They just had a habit of not telling people.
If AVP is correct, they've known about the Predator thing since the Predator 2 incident.
Yeah. The whole nuking of, what was it, Denver?
Well, no. Predator 2 is Danny Glover in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
But then in
Nuka City.
In the first AVP, where they find the arena in Antarctica.
Yeah.
Right. Did they nuke a city in that one too? That movie is really fucking bad. All right. In that one,
blow up the temple in
that piece of shit movie. In that piece of shit movie, what's his name from Millennium shows up, Joe Black, and he's like, it's Bishop from Aliens, and he's like, AVP takes sometime after Predator. Yeah, he has knowledge of the Predator 2 incident. It seems to take place whatever year the movie happens, like 06, but like a fictionalized 06. So in that movie, we have the actor who played not is Ash is Bilbo, the next one, Bishop. If I got that right, the one who's brought back briefly he's in Aliens 2 and he's in Aliens and Alien 3. But like that actor comes back as the founder of the company. It's only called the Wagon Corporation. The merger hasn't happened yet. but they know all about what went down with Danny Glover in L.A. Then they've also found this Antarctic stadium, and they send the world's most badass team of mercs to kind of check it out. If I'm not wrong, something insane like that. But he kind of like tips his hand and he knows everything in like the first 15 minutes. Then the movie gets stupider and stupider and stupider.
I
He
gotta say
knows
that
something in it. I'm not sure he knows exactly what's down there, but
he may or may not know what's down there, but he has like pretty deep knowledge of the Predators and seems to know everything about the 89 incident or whatever they're calling it in the movie.
I gotta say that I consider the Alien versus Predator movies non-canon, and most fans usually do.
Considering that they were made, they were created by the demand of video games and comic books, I could see why. But if we consider the lore of the overall alien world, Wagon Corporation knows about that, knows that there's stuff out there. And I'm not like they could have been thought it was more predators, because the first thing they find out about is they know about. I think they give up that they know about both predator missions in that little talk off that he gives the tough black chick at the beginning of AVP.
You might be right. It's been so long since I've seen that movie.
It's far from memorable, and it's not great. But he kind of helicopters in, and he's like, "I'm rich, important, Scottish, or whatever, like American billionaire, like Ian Wagan." And she's like, "Oh wow, yeah, wow, Ian Wagan." And he's like, "All right, there's this crazy like Antarctic stadium. I know because in 1985, a group of mercenaries was lost on an island of Alberta, and then in 1991, like in LA during a gang war, a FBI assault team, a spec ops team, and a bunch of LA cops were killed by this maniac alien. One of them survived and told us the story." Like, he gives us as much as we should know.
All right, and Mikey,
AVP takes place 7 years after Predator 2, which supposedly takes place in 1997.
And
which
Mikey,
makes sense because it's from 1991, so they make it a little futuristic. Apologies.
And Mikey, if Whistle Germ is risky, he could try to drop a link in the YouTube area, but I doubt he will. But if you're part of his
I am not freaking putting no link in that damn in the public chat.
All right.
Believe me, Germ knows exactly how to be the host of his own show. Trust me.
All right, but I'm just trying to help out both Germ and Mikey.
Totally appreciate it, but you know what? Everybody has means to speak.
Yeah, Mikey, sorry if you can't get to your X account. There's nothing I can do. I'm not having any more dicks show up in this.
Literally.
Present dicks excluded.
Well, we're keeping it in our pants, so to speak, literally and figuratively. There are some people out there who destroyed the link in the chat, and then those same people are the ones who destroyed the group chat made to guard against it and turn that into a liability that has to be blown up every once in a while. What can I say? Not everyone on YouTube is really nice.
No, most people on YouTube aren't very nice, apparently.
Which is rough on a person who default believes that most people are very nice.
Oh, I haven't believed that since I was a child.
I forced myself to believe it.
Good for you.
Yeah, well, I'm very cautious and I'm very pokey at new people too. But if they're able to handle the poke, then I lower my guard to them. No.
So, Gorilla, how's things going? How's that vehicle of yours doing? Did you get it fixed?
I'm looking for a new. I might find a new one.
Did they total it? What did they bend the frame?
Tie rods and everything was bent.
Have you considered just carjacking your way into the future?
Well, then
he doesn't live in the city. You'd have to go 5 miles between carjackings.
Well, then here it is. If he does go that way, he has to figure out how to wipe his fingerprints from the scene. Get the right tools that knows how to hotwire an ignition or develop a key-like shape to put into the ignition of a car, and turn it, and then hopefully the car starts up, then take it to a chop shop, and then just wipe all the evidence off, like his fingerprints, his anything that would give him away. Then hopefully he gets $2,000 for that hijacking.
Fingerprints. He's a gorilla. He's a
Girls
gorilla.
fingerprints.
Prove it. Dust Joan Goodall's boobs and show me the results.
I'm not getting within 100 yards of Jane Goodall's boobs. You can
Stand
do that
fast.
if you like.
Hi, Shifty Jism. Just so
Hey,
wrong.
Shifty.
If it wasn't for some action set pieces and a few things we've never seen in Alien films, it was just okay. So it wasn't horrible. Not as good as the trilogy, parts of Covenant or Isolation. So I think what you're saying is this movie isn't a total loss, but what you got was like a mid experience where it was like, while you didn't want your money back, you weren't like, damn, that was something I can't wait to talk about at work on Monday. So like a good but okay trip to the movie theater. We're talking like it's in the vicinity of Rogue One. Would that be a good way of putting it?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Not great.
Not good enough.
To the theater.
Yeah. Not good enough to talk about, not bad enough to get pissed off about.
Yeah,
there's so little to talk about in that movie.
Yeah, and Admiral T, the Rogue One is the best of the Disney Star Wars movies, but I forgot most of that movie besides the fan service Darth Vader scene at the end.
That is
all right,
if
everybody's okay with this, we're gonna say Shifty Jism. We're okay if you wanted to. I am okay if you want to divulge this. I would appeal to Germ to give the ruling on whether or not he gives permission to Shifty Jism to tell us how he feels about that movie, about anything detail oriented. Ridley Scott was right. Marv's aren't scary anymore. If you want to, tell us a little bit about the movie, like we're cool with it. Oh wow, we lost Gorilla.
I think Gorilla's having some technical difficulties again.
Well, I would say
spends
that
most of the stream throwing a luggage around his home, so it's sometimes the router gets hit. Sorry, go ahead. Oh, there you go.
I would say that
just aren't scary anymore.
Just don't make
they weren't scary since the first one.
Just don't make any more prequels that explores the alien origins because
we don't want to know. Yeah, the more we know, the worse it is.
Yeah, plus it makes them more mysterious and more scary. Plus, I would say the last good movie was Aliens, the sequel, which expanded on the aliens a little bit, but it did not delve too much into their backstory. It expanded the alien mythos, in other words, on how they repopulate and all that, and I was fine with that.
The third one's not terrible, but it's a rehash of the first one. Then we just start repeating ourselves. But
it's a dead end too.
By the time we get to Prometheus,
it's just to revive the species, so they can actually have a franchise afterward.
They pull a lot out of their ass and kill off three characters we would much rather have seen. I guess one character has like 10 seconds of dialogue because they bring him back and kill him off again. There's callbacks to every movie in the main franchise, including the bad ones. Oh, great. So what, are they going to shoot basketball? And then Alien Covenant was like the worst mixed bag of mostly bad ever. Like the good moments were good. Winona Ryder, hot. But the movie bizarre and all over the place. Strange shit left and right. Ripley doesn't know there's acid in her veins. Strange fucking movie. Why do the aliens hate her?
Alien and Resurrection and Prometheus. I could do without the Prometheus.
The thing is,
Resurrection, okay.
I don't remember Resurrection much, but I can tell you this Prometheus, they're trying so desperately to cobble that to something after it that would make sense, because they're like, we have our stepping stone planet, damn it. We have our stepping stone planet. So we may have to Prometheus, and maybe we find their ship and get all their records. So we only have to go into the cave like once, and then we go to the next planet. We get to like 1.5% of the way, or 1.5% of the way to the movie that would have come after, because they botched the end. And for whatever reason, Noomi Rapace isn't exactly the most in-demand actress in the world, but no one wants it. Like, she wanted nothing to do with it.
Yeah, at this point, I think they should just relaunch. Forget Prometheus and everything that came after, and just maybe 50 years or 100 years after Resurrection. Humans are out among the galaxy, predators are out amongst the galaxy, and the xenomorphs are out amongst the galaxy.
So tell me, do we make contact with the predator race, or are they still a mystery to us, both races?
Well, is the predator race the engineers, or is the predator race the
No.
xenomorphs?
Well,
the predators are supposedly what the
Oh, they're their own-
engineers created the xenomorphs to fight.
Yeah,
That's
and
right. Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we're reverse engineering the stupid explanation from Jurassic World 2 that the military really wants these unstable, very hard to control dinosaurs because they're great military weapons. The stupidest idea ever.
Yeah, and just to get the whole hardcore nerdy, I have read some of the fandom wiki on both franchises of the Alien and Predators. If you want to know, the in-universe name of the Predators is the Yautja.
Yeah. And honestly, they're far more interesting than the xenomorphs ever were. People are going to give this film much deserved crap over Rogue One element. But they already are. Then it's up to Gap. And the ending, oh boy. Is that a good old boy or a bad old boy?
Yeah, I'm sorry if the Rogue One element seems to bother anybody, but like it's hard not to consider it now where it's like, and the movie's so well named because it's your rogue, entertaining Star Wars movie from Disney. It's not great. It's not great. It's just that it doesn't suck and it makes sense. It mostly makes sense. They keep it relatable. The time frame is too long. I feel like instead of tacking on some dumb ending, they tacked on some dumb beginning. They packed that beginning was so long and slow and dull. We could have just started with her having a conversation with the last King of Scotland about why she's his Padawan, and moved on.
Yeah, I think AVP is canon to Predators, but not to Alien.
That's very interesting.
Oh yeah, and plus, I may have a different opinion than both you and Tig, but I found Alien vs. Predators a good dumb movie. It was to me, but then I do like good action movies anyway.
And it is not the worst Predator movies.
Yeah, but
the last two with the one where they go to the game reserve planet and they have
that one with the one with Adrian Brody and Topher Grace. That one was really good. I won't ruin the surprise at the end. That one was surprisingly good. I really enjoyed that one. I was
insulted.
Surprised.
I was insulted by the mutate Yautja they had in there, and then they carry that over into that last Predators movie.
They did a few terrible things and a few stupid things in that movie, and the movie wasn't the greatest movie ever. But the idea that we had this planet that they use as a game reserve in itself makes some sense.
But I would say this: I did find
it's better than Romulus. Oh, geez.
I would say this: I did find the different predator designs somewhat interesting because it shows you guys don't like about it shows the predators are somewhat more diverse than just the basic design. It shows that some predators are more muscular, have more what am I trying to say? They have more diverse features to show that there's more variety to them, like to us humans are. There's more variety of us.
If I understand, they're using some kind of time dilation to justify that the prey predator is like one generation removed of like he's a cave predator. To which I say, a cave predator with a spaceship. But like that's why he's dumber, and I'm still like he's a cave predator with a spaceship. It's like, so what is this, like Kazon Pakleds? It's like bad
Something
Star Trek idea.
I don't even count prey. Prey does not exist to me. That doesn't fit into anything.
I like the moment where the predator kills the bear in a really stupid way.
Oh, the whole thing is stupid. It's just
I can't.
They took the one predator who just weren't quite right in the head, and they sent him down there to laugh at him get killed by some small Indian woman.
If you're gonna have a predator who's supposed to be like a caveman predator, let's have us go to his planet through a time dilation.
Yeah, I would say this.
Go ahead, Shifty.
Go ahead.
I would say they should not have made the Prey movie a prequel. They should have just made it a sequel or just a Predator movie. In other words, don't make it don't make it a prequel. That was sort of the one fault I had with it.
You can
Yeah,
make
we
a
don't
Predator
need
movie
predators in
without
the
making
past.
it- Yeah, we can make a Predator movie independent of the other storyline by just throwing the Predators at like an able crew anywhere or an able space colony. Or you could honestly throw a Predator in like fucking it's onto Coruscant if you just like change all names and branding like 35% so you can't get sued. It's just like the Kendo Guardians guard the Kendo Temple of the Interspecies Republic. And there's a strange predator killing people. Take your fire swords and go do justice. We will do so under our code of Kendo Knightship. We have limited
Well,
telekinesis due to our connection with the knot.
yeah, and
Freudian knot of knowledge.
yeah, and to just
Go for it,
show my hardcore nerd, the Predators do have a sort of honor hunting code. Like they don't hunt the innocent or the pregnant women, which that's kind of an advantage if you want to take advantage of that. Just give a pregnant woman a gun and have them shoot the Predator, and then the Predator can't do a damn thing.
No, they're like
they will
they're
defend
like,
themselves, but that's
this
one
is-
of the things I had a problem with in Predators. That mutant thing didn't have a code of honor.
Well, yes,
the mutant thing might have been game.
Well, and they did say that these Predator groups were bad bloods, basically criminal Yatra that broke the honor hunting code, and they had a blood feud with the main Predator clan. So it's kind of like
You know what?
I'm
with
you
you
there.
explained they're a rogue clan that does
The
genetic
rogue one
engineering.
moment is that they brought back Ash with an AI Ian Holm voice, and he looks worse than Carrie Fisher. He's in the film. So what's the deal? He's now the
Holy
scientist who
shit.
invented. So he's the scientist who invents the cybernetics, isn't he? He's the scientist who invents it. He looks like a freaking cartoon. The Carrie Fisher in Rogue One, I don't know why they chose to light her like that and throw CGI over the face of the real actress to make her look less like the person she is. The actress resembles what we saw on screen. That is a 30-year-old lady, though. I don't know why they couldn't go with someone closer to Carrie Fisher's age in A New Hope. It's double plus a little, but you know what? Fine. Like that woman, like they did a good enough CGI voice. What did she say? One word.
If that.
That's it. She says hope. They're like, what is it, princess? And she's like, she looks at the Death Star schematic and recognizes what it is, and she goes, hope.
But they mainly did that because it was her daughter they overlaid in Rogue One.
That's not Billy Lord in Rogue One. It's a Swedish
Not-
actress. Swedish actress.
I thought
The
all
voice,
those,
the voice, I bet, is Billy Lord, though.
which one did they overlay her for?
That's Tross when they show
Oh.
her training Luke, showing him how to be a Jedi, fixing his problems with the Force by being more powerful than him right off the bat, and showing that he's a terrible sensei, and then overtaking the training. Remember that sequence? She throws Luke around.
Unfortunately, I do.
Yeah, it's burned into our minds. This is something, man. Shifty Jism, you can go right ahead and tell us more about that. Shifty Jism, would hate sauce be another word for Jism? That's what I used to call mine.
Yeah, that's very disturbing. They do something like that in an alien movie.
Yeah, well, I would say, well, I'm trying to taste the subject, but I'll let you finish, Germ. I want to talk about
No,
about
go ahead. I want to get off of this whole Romulus thing. It's depressing.
There's not even Romulans in it. Fuck it.
Well, I would say that, well, the fandom would agree that the worst Predator movie or Alien vs. Predator movie before the Predator came out was, oh boy, you probably know which one I'm talking about. It's Alien vs. Predator Requiem. That movie was bad.
Oh,
if
yeah.
any of you have seen it.
I own it.
It's
Unfortunately.
It's so freaking dark that I can't tell what's going on half the time anyway.
Yeah, they did that to cover up lack of budget for the costumes. They didn't quite know what they were doing with the hybrid in that movie. so the costume never got 100% finished. Then, of course, the regular xenomorphs themselves, those were half-assed. They look more like they do in the Prometheus timeline. They got sort of squared up on the
We've
head.
tried
and the color isn't right.
We've tried every weird thing in this franchise. We've also had like one where the power of having a terrible mental, intellectual disability that afflicts people and is hard to live with is a superpower, and they won't back off of it. The show is unapologetically projecting it as a superpower, and we're all just like,
Yeah.
what the hell is going on?
Here, I'll be back in a few minutes.
All right. Yeah, that has to be the worst of the Predator movies.
Which one?
Not counting the
Jeez, what was it called?
Predators. The last
No.
three. Prey was the
The
last one. One of them was
The-
Predators.
We want the Shane Black one. Predators is the one where we just have multiple predators. That's the one with the planet and Adrian Brody.
What's that other one?
Predators is actually a successful attempt at something close to AVP, to be honest.
I can't remember the life of me. I can't remember. It's that bad. I can't remember the title. Gonna have to freaking Google it.
Are you talking about another Predator movie, like Predator, or the Predator from the 2017 or 2018? That one, or another one?
Oh yeah, The Predator.
A very
That's what
original
they
name,
called it.
ain't
The
it?
Shane Black one. Yeah. That freaking sucked. That's why I get confused. Predators, The Predator.
Yeah, that's. I gotta be honest. You'd be forgiven for thinking that that was a good movie until you see it. Like everything that, like the way people pretend to talk about it, and like the pre-publicity for it, and Shane Black's idiotic. Like, what did he? What like he was playing with firecrackers that 4th of July, and like an M80 went off like really close to his head and gave him some like concussive disorder, and he's like, now it's time to write the movie.
I don't know. There has to be some sort of explanation for that. Guess there's something coming out in 2025 for the franchise. Badlands.
Another Predator, or any movie called Badlands?
It's somehow related to the Predator franchise because it's listed in the film list for upcoming on the franchise.
I would say that the only way to do a Predator movie now, I mean, call me a sci-fi Star Wars fan, but the only way to do a Predator movie is do outer space, do a flash forward in the future for a Predator movie, or just give like Colonial Marine style from that game if you even played that game. Just give a galactic version of Colonial Marines versus Predator and Aliens or something. Like just give what the fans want. In other words,
Yeah. The whole Aliens and Predators franchise should be taking place in like 2200. So you can
Bring
forget
us to a colony.
Yeah.
Make
Just
us care
jump
about
to-
the people there. Do a good movie where, like, for the first 25% of the movie, like, we see that they're getting somewhere on this planet, and we like feel good that they're there, and we're like, wow, mankind, we're going to the stars, and like instill just a little bit of wonder there for us, and like make space seem real. And then, like, I don't know, maybe a tragic accident to turn it hostile, and then then we start to discover like the alien. Like, you could do something. Or the Predator shows up at like the worst, most inopportune time after a tragedy. It gets hot on the planet for a while, and they come there. I mean, anything is better than what we have. And you're probably better trying to just like pioneer out alone. With aliens, like you said, like take us to a colony, make us care. You know, make everyone there kind of like us want them to make it. And then like for the whole 50% of the middle, from like 26% to like whatever you call it, like 74% on. Like conflict and battle with colonial marines, just go absolutely crazy. Indulge yourself one more time. It's been 30 years. You can do it again. and then at the end of the movie, show that it was right that they fought.
Yeah, I would
Doing
say
independent of the other movies.
Yeah, I would say there are two ways of doing these two franchises. Either try to do horror and slow paced and suspenseful, or do pure action with a mixture of somewhat tension and scariness to it. But I think the latter half or the first half is all played out now, unless they get a good director with a good writer that's able to balance the two between horror and suspense and action and all that. But from what I hear, that's kind of hard to do because for horror you want suspense and tension, and for action you just want the tension to be released all at once. So how do you do a good balance between that? In other words, if you want to do a movie like that.
Yeah, I think horror and suspense doesn't really sell anymore.
Well,
But they haven't done that right in so many years that it's hard to tell.
Yeah, I think it's. Well, that genre hasn't played out probably. That's probably why people are tired of it. Just let it go dormant for a few years or a few decades.
It's really, really profitable. You don't have to make a lot of money to make a lot back. Horror movies is the cheapest genre. There's always going to be people who love them. They're the least expensive movies to make. There's a reason why they started bringing the Predator to our planet. We have very good sets of Earth. We have exteriors of Earth that look just like Earth.
Or better yet, why not just use Earth-like environments like they do, and just say it's another planet like they did for Predators, which Germ hates that movie.
You could go ahead and spend 25% of that movie just building up the fact that they're working on making this planet habitable. And have them say that now, the planet gets so close to the sun for a little while, or the orbit changes, or the angle of the planet changes, it gets super hot, and then have your Predator show up and do some normal Predator movie. The stakes would be the same. The Predator movie doesn't have to explore their lore and their culture much more than have one or two of them show up being dicks. We just have to care about the people they're hunting.
Yeah.
And have them act by the Predator, more or less by the Predator code. I would say Predator number one was a spoiler bastard who lured in the people who got him to get killed. But then again, I guess the other side of the coin is by showing him what he's doing, he's giving him a chance to escape.
Yeah, Emerald, the way the Predator works, I mean, I'm getting whole nerdy here, but the Predator wants a good fight and a good hunt. And if he's defeated by a worthy foe, like a worthy fellow hunter, from one of the crew or from one of the colonists that are able to outsmart the Predator like that, then the Predator would do the self-destruct risk gauntlet thing unless they're able to find a way to cut that off his arm like they did in Predator 2. Or the movie ends with the Predator committing suicide, taking the whole colony with him, saying, all right, this human colonist defeated me fair and square at my own game. Now I do a self-destruct mechanism, take the whole colony out. Or something in the movie.
I think he would leave the colony because he would want other Predators to have the challenge. But let's see.
Yeah.
Shifty Jism says he's another model of the Ash synthetic with a different name. They find the big chap's body floating around in Mr. Romo's wreckage and bring it back to a research station named after David's message to Wyoming. Or Waijin Yugatami.
What?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Reagan Fujitami?
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck it is.
Wayland
The
Utami.
corporation. Van Halen. The Van Halen Corporation.
Yeah, and just to reinforce my point, one last time to you, Ambleton.
Shifty Jism. I have to thank you, by the way.
The Predators are somewhat like Space
Really
Samurai,
appreciate that.
sort of. They have their own code, in other words.
Some of them
I'm
are.
gonna be very
There
honest with you.
are many different tribes, and they each have a variation on the code.
If I gave one of them a batholith and had it scream Kapla before it attacked, boom. Subspecies of the Klingons.
Prometheus,
They have so much in
black
common with the
goo
Klingons.
into herself.
Oh god, yeah, that was the black goo was that was right out of the X-Files. It was some weird way for the alien to get you. I think is that how does the black goo get into the champagne bottle and then the guy drinks it and we see it moving across his eyes and it's just like the X-Files. Injecting the Prometheus black goo into herself and making the baby turn into a reverse newborn creature from Alien 4.
That is horrific.
Is that Alien 4 is Alien Covenant, right? With those, that's the last one with the
Resurrection.
horny beaver.
No,
That's
no,
is
Resurrection.
Beaver and which one is So Horny Beaver and Winona Ryder?
Resurrection.
Yeah.
Okay.
Covenant
is
is
not
the one after Prometheus.
Okay, so that one, yeah, I haven't seen that one, and I don't fucking feel like it. Wow, let's get a new franchise, guys. You know what? There could be other aliens. They could even look a lot like these and be inspired by them, and we wouldn't be that upset.
Yeah, just do something else.
And I may have asked this already, but
Yeah,
but how the heck do we come up with better ideas than Hollywood does already? How do we come up with better ideas? Is because
less cocaine and
More
respect for the
cocaine.
franchise.
The cocaine has been gone for years. That's the problem. That's just my hot take.
Yeah. And Dan, if you can send it to him on Facebook, go ahead.
I think I did, but he may either something went wrong through the transition, or he did not get it outright. It should be on his Facebook. I sent a message to him directly to the StreamYards link if he's able to find it. But then again, he is on a different account and laptop. And I probably have to get the Facebook link to his other profile. I'm guessing anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Mikey. He sent it to you. But yeah, we can stop talking about aliens and talk about something a little more depressing. Borderlands.
For what I hear, that movie's bombing bad spectacularly.
$9 million take on its opening weekend. That is freaking horrible.
I would say.
How did it not end up being a weird streaming show?
I don't know. It would have been better places. They got Twisted Metal on Peacock. They could have gotten Borderlands on there too.
I gotta say, I played some of the Borderlands game. I'm not sure which one it was, but I played one of the games, and it was all right gameplay wise. It was.
Yeah, I think I may have played the first one, but that is so long ago.
Well, I would say the one of the major complaints is that the characters, the actors that play the characters are too old for the roles that they're supposed to play. In other words, like the characters they're supposed to play are in their late teens or mid 20s, and the actress is playing them are in their late 40s or early 60s or early 70s.
That's more than I know about the franchise.
Well, I'm guessing anyway. Okay.
I had serious reservations about that movie the second I saw Jamie Lee Curtis in it.
Yeah, and
she does herself a Jamie Lee discourtesy by being in that role.
Yeah, and for what I hear from reviewers and game players actually played the game, the character she's playing is supposed to be in her 20s or late teens, and she's way too old for that role.
I think that's universal, or I think Kate Blanchett's character too. They just took this game and geriatrified it.
Yeah, it sounds like that.
It makes us all very afraid to get old. I'm going to be honest.
It's Borderlands in name only. In other words, it's just a skin suit, basically. The movie is, for what I hear.
It could be as faithful to the lore as possible, but look at the weird puppet show we have. It's like a lot of familiar facelifts in that movie.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people that shouldn't be working anymore.
Well, I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis in something other than an action-adventure piratical role where she's shooting people and stuff like that might work. I mean, as a grandmother who's sleuthing, like, I don't know, if you want to reboot Murder, She Wrote, or if you want to put the two of them in the Golden Girls reboot. Or how about this? I've got a great idea. How about we can mix two franchises without adding any actresses to either one of them. You ready? We start funding the next Golden Girls movie. but we get the Sex in the City chicks, and we just call it Golden Girls Sex in the City. And we just have them move forward, assuming they get a house together, right?
Well,
That is very
Thank you for
disturbing.
being a friend.
well,
You know what? It's a better idea than anything I've heard so far tonight.
Well, I guess the Golden Girls were cougars, but they played that down in the original show, probably.
No, that were very, very
only one of
out
them
there.
dated, and then at the end of in the final episode, the one who dated a lot confessed that she didn't date at all because she was so heartbroken and lonely. So that was all just like fantasy. So that character, I guess it was like a real rug pull and a real shocker, but like it's fucking super sad. What can I tell you? Sex in the City and Golden Girls are pretty much the same show. I enjoyed both. Golden Girls.
I never watched
show.
Sex in the City.
It's exactly like
Sex in-
Golden Girls, bro. The characters are the same. The characters line up. One like they directly line up. You name the character from Golden Girls, I'll tell you which one is the one from Sex in the City.
Yeah, well, I may be a pessimist or somewhat of a combiner here, but I think the only way Hollywood can, because I think they ran out of ideas a long time ago. The only way that
1999.
the only way that they can make so-called new
right.
stuff was to combine ideas with different things to make new stuff.
The last good movie that was a franchise derivative that was like truly great, that everyone was happy to see, that got universal fanfare, that it gets more loved every year is Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, and that's a good
like
movie.
7. But here's the thing, it's 20 full years ago now.
Yeah, damn.
Where's the movie from any franchise that's just like you left the movie theater like, damn, it was all leading up to that. Oh my God, I can't believe George Lucas pulled that off, especially after that second movie.
Yeah, well,
Rebooting again, Gorilla.
Yeah, well,
I think you're going to need a new computer soon.
Yeah, well,
to go along with that new car.
Well, what I'm trying to say is that if they want to do any somewhat new idea or combination idea, they have to combine other different universe ideas or mismatch ideas and make something new, sort of. Like, if they want to do a Star Trek, Star Wars movie that takes elements from both, but they know how to mix it just right, then fine. Make a sort of Star Trek, Star Wars movie that mixes the elements just right, and that would be a good movie for sci-fi fans.
What you would kind of get is Starship Troopers with magic. I mean, it just wouldn't work out.
Yeah, they're too radically different.
Well,
maybe if you combine,
it doesn't matter how close they are.
In fact, like Star Wars with Starship Trooper.
No, what I'm saying is, if you can, what sci-fi Sith Dan had proposed, you would get Starship Troopers with magic.
Well, I'm just spitballing here to try to give you an example. It could be different other franchise combinations that may oddly work out somehow, or will not work out at all. It's just
what are you saying to help you guys well, thank you. You're mixing and matching ideas to try to get us to what would be a potentially new franchise cobbled together from older ones.
Yeah, because
a Franken franchise.
All right, your Franken franchise would simply have a ship out in space that belongs to a military that shows they're good in like an early James Bond kind of style cold open where a few people do some self-sacrificing things. Maybe some people die like right away, saving other people in the crew, so others might live. Like we show that they're really, really, really close crewmates, even though there's a lot of them. It's like a military code holds them together, and like they're pretty good with their hierarchy. Like no one yells back at the captain. And we go into some kind of a conflict that has to do with a planet that can't protect itself, that they elect to protect simply because it's the right thing to do. And they're familiar with the bad guys. It's like a Klingon Federation sort of relationship. We could betray it, and it would be like it's whatever. It's the Nafties, or it's the people from Sagan 4. We can't stand them. They're an Earth colony that went off the edge. Decided to update.
Your computer hates you, Gorilla.
Gorilla, you turn those onto manual and you do it once a week.
Or you set those automatically to happen at 2 a.m.
I'm always on my computer at 2 a.m.
I'm spitballing again roughly with what fans and sci-fi fans say somewhat that Stargate and Star Trek overlap somewhat. You think that could be a good combination if you know how to do it? If you know how to do it just right with certain elements.
It's already
no.
You can't overlap them because there's already Stargate is
They're too
Star Trek
close.
without starships.
Yeah. All they did was take the transporter and make it able to go anywhere. That was the idea for a Star Trek show that Gene Roddenberry had for like a week before they got him to abandon it. They're like, Star Trek requires a ship. And he's like, I guess so. Because he wanted to give him a super transporter.
Yeah, he wanted to cheap out on a starship design. He said, no, that's a big draw.
Wildly insane idea. You know, it was just that like Gene Roddenberry, through his frustrations and changing monetary stuff through the 70s, sometimes like on a bad day, he would just like, we also know like Gene, you know, he did drink a little bit and stuff. Like he just like a bad bender, and then like get like a phone call with him, just like, you know, Roddenberry, you're not getting the money we promised. Your movie's a TV show again. And it's just like, oh God, like how many times do you have to throw things across the room, like in frustration, and like do a massive rewrite? So there are a couple of times where Gene Roddenberry's like, fuck it, I can't work with this. There'll be no starship. Like, I don't necessarily believe that he ever really considered that remark. It doesn't stick. It's like one of those things you hear was like, for a minute there, Gene even thought he could do it without a starship. You never hear it like, you know, like, here's the script without a starship. It's like, it didn't get that far.
No, he had the idea, thought it was great for 2 seconds, and then realized what everyone liked.
This was fodder for conversation at Star Trek conventions. It lasted like an hour in the writer's room, which is as much time as that idea deserves. Gene Roddenberry's a genius. All the people who work for him, he hired very well. The fact that Star Trek stays good for a really long time after we lose him shows that he was good at hiring people.
Yeah. And take care, Mikey.
And someone tell Wes Cagle that the Phillies are destroying Washington.
Well, hopefully they destroy each other.
It's 11-4 Philadelphia.
I just hope someone comes by and wipes out Detroit.
I am so afraid to go. The only kind of game I could go to in Philly would be like a Sunday or Saturday day game. And even on the weekend, they push them to the night in a lot of cities. But I would have to wake up at like, say, 9 a.m, jump on like the bus to Philly. Like, I guess I could get a little wasted before the game. Go to a Phillies game, definitely not wear my Met hat, like wear like a Notre Dame hat or something like that, or maybe even wear a Phillies hat just so I don't get like shivved. Get back on the bus, burn the Phillies hat before I go back to New York so no one shoots me on the bus when I get off the bus. And then, you know, but the thing is, like, I've been to Philly a few times and, you know, and it's not that far away. It is like what people think of New York is Philly, man. Like, it is crimey. It is scary. I needed every piece of New York City experience I had just to not freak out walking down the street. The bum to cop ratio was overwhelming in favor of the bums.
Yeah, that's quite normal.
Yeah, and rest of the
apparently my city is much different, and I have no like my city is the least tough, least badass city in America. You know what? I'll take it.
Yeah, Germ and Admiral, I do kind of see your point about the Stargate and Star Trek is. The way I did my fan story on fan fiction is I basically did a militarized version of Star Trek in the Stargate by making the humans basically just a militarized Starfleet.
Well, Starfleet is militarized. Yeah, like what do you mean, an aggressive military or just military, right? Because Starfleet is like, that's the thing. Like, they keep saying, you know, we're not the military. They are. And they are military in the way that they conduct themselves. That's why, I got to be honest, in the Star Trek movies, we see the Federation mostly having success, whereas in Star Wars, what we see is the Jedi and the Galactic Republic can't get shit done. They're so bad at everything. The Star Trek people, they don't have the level of tech we have in the galaxy far, far away, but They are much more organized and get it done until they become new track than anything we ever see in Star Wars, where the government is a complete failure in every iteration of Star Wars and every iteration of Lucas and Disney.
Well,
Yeah, originally that was the main point that, like for the prequel trilogy, it's the old and decaying corrupt republic falling to tyranny, and then the tyrannical lunatic empire basically self-destructing.
yeah.
You know what? I'm sorry. There, sit then. I really did appreciate that. I felt that it was appropriate for the time, and I did not feel it was overly politicized. That George Lucas openly said after the movie was in theaters that he had modeled some of Palpatine's behavior on his perceptions of how he felt George W. Bush behaved. That's fine.
Yeah,
It was very lightly applied. It was very lightly applied.
Yeah, well, just to conclude my point about my fan story, I would say that from what you said, Tig, it's basically Starfleet, but a military thing. Well, in my story of Stargate fan story, it's Starfleet.
Hey, Jim.
It's a militarized Starfleet, but they have teeth and they're not pushovers like what One Next Generation is. Like if you were to attack the humans of the Stargate universe in my story, they would fight back and show their teeth at you. They would not retreat or anything. They would show their teeth and fight back. They would.
I would argue that the Federation is extremely effective at striking back throughout the Next Generation up to the end of Voyager timeline. They don't. What do they lose? They beat the Borg. They beat the Borg again. They do have major setbacks. They lose most of their fleet at Wolf 359, but they get that Borg cube, and then they're able to forestall further incursion by the Borg.
They had a habit of giving up vast swaths of territory, light years at a time.
Us, the Federation, or the Borg?
The Federation. The
Federation was bigger than it could be.
Yeah, but for like the peace with the Cardassians, we gave a bunch of
Cardassian planets to the Borg. The Cardassians' job is to stop them, not us. Not the Federation. You know, if the Cardassians can't stop the Borg, like we should pitch in to try to help them because the Borg are shit.
The Borg
you know what I mean?
The Borg don't even come into it.
Here's that
whole piece when they gave up like Chakotay's family's world and whatnot. They gave up 2 sectors worth of planets.
They gave it to the but the Cardassians had a kind of a right to it, right? Wasn't the treaty 100-year waiting period? It was a treaty that had made sense at the time, right?
No, they made it in season 6.
No, what I didn't get about that piece with the Cardassians and the Federation is the Cardassians gave us a bunch of planets and we gave them a bunch of planets. Why not keep the borders the same? Then put up a demilitarized zone in between the planets.
A nation without you know what it is? It's that I think the deal was we had overlapped in our Venn diagrams of expansion for the 2 empires, and that what we were doing was the worlds the Cardassians got back, by and large, with few notable but terribly tragic exceptions like Chakotay, were all planets that more or less were more Cardassian oriented and looked towards the Cardassians for whatever culture and everything else. And then the worlds that were given to the Federation nominally fell deeper within the Cardassian border, but they were mistaken Federation colonies like Chakotay's world were like the majority rather than the minority of the planets given back.
Yeah, and
best guess.
And I think it comes down to resources too. I mean, the Star Trek's all about abundant resources or unlimited, but sadly, the further out you go from the home world of the Federation, the more scarce things get. So I think that
just buy another replicate. You just build a replicator.
Yeah, but my point is, around the Borderlands region between Cardassia and the Federation, the Cardassian Empire, from what the lore and the Star Trek universe and fans say, the Empire was very resource poor. I guess they saw those planets that the Federation had in that treaty as resource rich, and they wanted those planets to exploit in their resources, in other words.
I can see how the Cardassians are supposed to be like the post-collapse Soviets, and they kept the Klingons preserved as like the pre-collapse Soviets or even the East Germans.
And the Cardassians are supposed to be about 50 to 100 years behind the Federation. So they didn't have industrial replicators.
I was referring to the Federation.
Yeah. The Federation, even compared to the Romulans and the Klingons, when you get out of direct like military technologies, they were at least 50 to 100 years ahead of everybody. Sensors,
Well, yeah.
replicators, infrastructure. They
also
lapped
think that-
around even the Romulans.
I also have a funny feeling that the most advanced piece of technology the Federation had was super amazing shielding. That between the Vulcans and the humans, the best system they had was shields.
Yes.
And ion stream elements. You should be. I'll have to check those stream element things and update it. But there should be one for you on there.
So now
Unless it got deleted.
We'll get
So now-
Commodore on there, but how many subs Commodore got now? Like 20,000. He's doing like he's pretty thick in the subs.
Yeah, I'll be updating the stream elements thing because I still have to remove some dead channels on there.
Congratulations on your on the success, Jim.
Yeah,
it was a good looking number last time I looked. Way to go, man.
Yeah, well, from last time I heard, he was either around 6,000 or 7,000. Now he's probably somewhere. Well, if the number did not slow down, he's probably somewhere in the late teens to early 20,000 subs wise, probably right now. Oh no, Jim is at 7,666, the cursed number of the last half. The 66
that's still damn
number.
good.
Yeah, and now we're talking about Star Trek in-universe geopolitics now.
Well, they're in universe politics at least. Like they're consistent. They made sense. They weren't overly complicated, and they didn't. No, you're welcome, Jim. You really well done, sir. But like you know what I mean. Like there's a logical flow of how it happens. It's not like overwhelming or disturbing or convenient. I mean, the Klingons blowing up their moon. You know, conservation was a very big thing at that time. I mean. It wasn't a radical view of it, and it wasn't what people do today. Like no one's throwing oil on Jennifer Aniston back then. It was just like maybe we are going too far. Maybe all the oil in the world can't be gotten to, even if there is. So there's oil 30 miles down in the ocean. Maybe we can't get it. You know, like that's starting to creep in. And the Praxis analogy was light enough. Plus, it just sort of happens and we move on from it. It's like, well, that's the way it is.
Yeah.
The 50-year countdown
It's actually backed by
it was a little.
Yeah, that was a bit stupid, but
it should have been like 3 to 5 years, and people are living in shit now.
Yeah, the practice is actually restored by the time TNG comes around.
Yeah, and from what Lore Reloaded says, the Federation did not outright stop the fall of the Klingon Empire. They just slowed it down from the aid that they gave to the Klingon Empire.
Praxis.
I wouldn't take anything Lore Reloaded says about Star Trek as gospel.
By the way, Kronos is Kronos 2. They don't acknowledge it. They can still go because they left. Here's the deal: because they left the original Kronos. It's not as fucked up as it would have been if they stayed. You can go and spend a little while on Kronos, and you'll be okay. And Kronos, like as long as no one goes there, it's a mess, but right. But the moon is okay. That's why Worf is able to go to like. There's other moons. Praxis isn't the only one. The moon where he sees Kahless is a different moon, but I think it's
different
that one.
System.
I think Kronos 2 is related to the original Kronos, like Mecca and Medina kind of thing. The Klingons have space flight by the time of Kahless.
Yeah, they had
What?
to do something. It's because by the time the episode where they go to Kronos to reveal the changeling, planet's perfectly intact, everything's perfectly intact.
I think the idea
So
there in
much
the books and
for
the extended
ecological.
lore is they
Go ahead.
the lore is that they and the Federation cooperated and came up with a safe area that was a good sector that they were already somewhat connected to. The Federation did the same thing. It gave up a few dozen light years of disputed territory. They're like, you can have back this weird planet that was like a failed Klingon colony from like whatever, the 15th century. And they're like, thank you, humans. We will take this back. And then it also had like, it was replete with ancient Klingon shit because there are failed Klingon colonies from like 400 and 500 years ago and thriving ones from equally long back. Like, how far back is Kalis? He's like thousands of years and they had space flight. Like, they were way ahead of us. They just technological plateau.
Yeah, they had because they got space travel from the the Herc, whoever invaded their planet. They drove them off and they stole their technology.
Yeah,
the
well,
Klingons are like really successful Packlets.
yeah, and given from what I see in what the Russian Federation is now, I see that the Klingons of Next Generation. I mean, true, just a comparison, but Next Generation DS9. I see them as the Russian Federation. I do.
They
Yeah, that's supposed
are,
to be
but
that
they're
long.
here's the thing, they're the early one that we naively trusted, that we financially supported, and that didn't do too much underhanded shit. That got cooed out of existence on New Year's Eve 2000, 99, 2000, when Putin just takes over out of nowhere, and no one really knew what to do because I think we hadn't figured out who's going to be U.S. president yet.
To be fair, Russia is a lot better off since he did that. Things were not going great through the 90s for them.
No clue.
Yeah, but then again, from what I hear from certain channels that actually focus on Russia and Russian history, Russia never really had some type of the democracy at all. They shifted between authoritarianism and complete anarchy once their authoritarian system collapsed and rebuilt itself back up. In other words, so they don't
It's an
do
older
freedom.
meme, but it checks out. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, democracy doesn't work for everybody. And the Russians, it is completely tried, failed. They do not do nice with anything other than a strong man.
They like it.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, but then again,
It's their natural state.
Yeah, but then again, is that kind of how the world is now? I mean, just every 4 years we have an election of whichever personality is the strongest and who gets the most votes is our strongman for 4 years. Is that true too?
No, our
Not to the
executive's
same
not
point.
strong enough. Our executive's nowhere near strong enough to do that kind of a thing with.
He's strong in personality, but there's still a deviation of power. He can't. There's still the Congress, Senate, and the judiciary. In Russia, they have those things, but those are basically pretend.
Yeah, but you sort of see my comparison roughly. Like, from Putin, it's kind of, from what the news sources and the shows I watch that focus on Russia. Russia, Putin is very a extrovert, or how do we say that term in public, but in private he's more the strong man in private, from what I hear.
Hell, he's the strong man in public too. He's not outgoing and boisterous.
Putin's like 77 now.
Yeah, he was never really extroverted.
He did weird extroverted
fucking-
publicity things that made him you might mistake him for an extrovert, like wrestling with like a trained bear and weird shit like that. He's weird.
Yeah, he
does
listened
weird
to a
fake
few
PR.
stupid, a few dumb PR guys that I'm sure were never seen again. But he's fucking KGB. They don't hire nice, well-adjusted, extroverted people.
Well, I think I may have used the wrong term. he in public he's a introvert to a certain extent. He doesn't talk very much, even though in the back scenes he shows his strongman attitude, roughly.
He publicly kills people, bro. Like, this one's not gonna fly. I know you can't cobble that one together. He's really just kind of, he's successful running that country, but he's also like an open, strong man.
Yeah. He's openly despotic, and he's very intellectual and cool-headed about it, but that's just how Russians, well, it's basically he's a czar. That's
Yeah.
just the common attitude. They're either flamboyantly insane or reserved, basically sociopathic.
And that's Putin
And they
right
have,
there.
yeah, they have nice, stable, long reigns like Putin has.
He didn't get there
So-
by being nice and open and nice to people, though. He got there by being a real dick. They like that stuff. I don't know why. But I'm not here to tell people how to live either.
Yeah, and he knew how to play the game of politics inside Russia too, to get up on top too.
He
Of
was
course.
KGB.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he used assassination, blackmail, or both. In other words, probably blackmail.
Assassination, blackmail, bribery, every dirty trick you can think of. That's how he stays in power. And that's how the real world works, not this whole
At this point,
fun little
I just-
happy democracy crap that the West has been pretending for the last 200 years.
I want to say, Director Ray, I aspire to nothing. We're just talking, not thinking about doing nothing. But yeah, what you said.
Well, if you really want to get Germ's channel in trouble, talk about the other country that's a dictatorship.
I think there's a few more than one.
Well, you do know which one I'm talking about. That's in YouTube's that's in their pocket. In other words, for YouTube, that
I
they
think
censor
there's
people
more than one.
that state.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm trying to skirt around it to not.
You can go with
get you in trouble.
the. Oh, no, you go ahead and say it. The
China.
Chinese.
Yeah.
There's the Iranians. There's basically every country in between Iran and Israel that has deep pockets,
Well,
which
and
would basically exclude Yemen and Oman, and that's about it.
Yeah, I would say that YouTube is somewhat deep in China's pocket because they play censorship on any China content on YouTube. They do.
Upstream elements. Oh, I can definitely help you with that, Jim. Come on up on the stream, and afterwards we can. I can just walk you through it.
And that is if you have the time for after the stream ends, before Gorilla's live stream starts on his channel.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be a good
Yeah,
15,
because you
20
don't want to
minute
watch a bunch of gold getting fingered tonight.
Oh my god.
Well, that's what the movie's about, isn't it? Goldfinger? It's about some gold being fingered?
No, that's the Austin Powers one.
Oh. Hmm. No, I think I might bring Cringe Stock back next Thursday if Tig's available. Because I need my diversity higher for that one.
For which part of the country?
Well, senor, what do you need me to do, El Jefe? Do you need me to trim the bushes outside of the theater?
No, we got I want to watch I was thinking of doing Border Town.
Oh my god.
That movie, that show got canceled after 10 episodes there because people were complaining how racist it was.
Yeah, and
Here's the
Gorilla.
problem. I can only help just so much.
Yeah.
If anyone leaves the country that I came from, the United States gives them money because it's considered an oppressive dictatorship.
They're sipping them all back because of the way they vote.
No, they
They
the
all live in
Cubanos,
Florida.
yeah, they're coming here and they're allowed to leave there to come here, and like we officially say that they're allowed to come here. It's the only reverse immigration thing that we have. And it stood for 60 years. It's been since we broke it for like a week in 1980, and it brought down the Carter administration.
Yeah, it's all part of the United States official "fuck Castro" program.
Yeah. Well, I'm still laughing there that a week before they signed the embargo for Cuba, there JFK ordered 1,500 cigars from Cuba.
That makes sense, though.
Yeah, gotta stock up.
Yeah, I think there's still like 20 of them left that went up for auction for a couple $1 million.
He's the president I admire the most because think about it. At one point, he had like one hand on the fucking nuclear red button and the other hand on Marilyn Monroe's tits. Oops.
So in other words, which one was he blowing up?
Well, we all know how Marilyn went, and it wasn't peacefully of her own accord.
I think it was just an accident. Things happen. Director Ray, we believe the FBI report on that one.
I thought she died of a drug overdose, or they claimed that it was.
It's never
Most
Yeah,
confirmed.
that's
people
what they call.
yeah. After the fact, it came out that people were claiming it. Like Germ said, that we don't know how much proof there is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they never did a proper autopsy. The authorities, yep, drug overdose.
And Gorilla,
I want you to kill my girlfriend.
and Gorilla, and if you want to talk about gold gain finger, well, it does. It's called a golden ring that you put on, and the ring loves going back and forth on your ring finger. I loves getting fingered that way.
I have absolutely no idea what you were trying to say there.
Maybe he mistook one for the other.
Were you quoting
saving
Trump?
mankind.
Were you just quoting Trump? I have no idea what you just meant. I don't think you do.
No, it was a sexual innuendo in that statement too. If you know where it is.
There was so many innuendos in that.
Should I
But
say
still.
it again or not?
If you can remember it.
That was one of the best lines from the debate, though. I don't know what he said. And frankly, I don't quite think he knows what he said there.
You know what was? If we're going to talk about that at all, can I just say this? He was getting ready. If that had been a half an hour longer, if that had been a 2-hour debate instead of 90 minutes, which is like something of a save of Biden to a degree. I mean, the damage was done, but
Yeah,
that was
he
almost a save.
stroked out.
That was almost a save because if Trump had like 5 more minutes, did you notice that once he got over his shock, because he stayed shocked for the whole first hour, and it was like Trump was just like really restrained especially for Trump. It was a different, like I had never seen that look from Donald Trump before, and I have been familiar with Donald Trump since the 1970s, and I don't mean personally familiar. I mean like he's a New York City area celebrity, and I've known who he was since the 1970s. And I kind of understand him to a degree. Like you see people in the paper over and over, you see him on TV over and over. This is decades and decades and decades. He was really shocked at how out of it Biden was. He was shocked that he had confidence that he was correct, but he was shocked that he was beyond correct. He thought that there was some kind of like milk of the poppy or something that they could give this guy to make him able to perform, and then he would give him some kind of Rohypnol or something, and he'd be all right. But turns out there was none, and Trump was more than overly correct. And what you see for at least an hour of that debate is Trump completely shocked. And I don't think his jaw is literally on the floor. Am I wrong, guys? Does anyone else think that Trump was just absolute? He only had started to use. He only started using it to his advantage in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's when he started going off of the script, and because they basically put him in a straitjacket for as long as they could. They wanted him to stay quiet. they kept drilling into him.
He's always
Let Biden
restrained for as
destroy
long as he
himself.
can.
Let Biden destroy
Well-
himself, and he just couldn't resist any longer.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I always think that Trump is told not to say anything and see if the other person blows himself up first and stay calm for as long as he can. But the other person's always told, go out there and taunt Trump and see if he blows up. This time, Biden wasn't able to do it because usually what happens if you taunt Trump enough, either he'll blow up or he'll start coming back at you in such a mean way that it can hurt him sometimes. He's
Yeah,
going to
but
win
then
the
he
argument.
goes up. Yeah, he wins the argument, and his popularity goes up. People watch him to be mean and to tear people apart.
Are you saying that when he gets mean, it's like the NASCAR like crash? Like people like put up with the rest of it so they can see the crash? Or like, yeah, people driving in a circle is not so great, but then they crash.
Yeah. And it's not that, it's more, he isn't the guy crashing. He is the random tire from pit row that gets out on the track and causes the 10-car pileup.
He's a wild card indeed. I just think that in the last 15 minutes of that debate, he started to sharpen and hone his attack and start to like home in, for lack of a better term, on Biden and really go after him a little more. When in the earlier part of the debate, we saw, of all things, the media going after Biden because Trump was just absolutely shocked. Like, I think his jaw was on the floor for most of the first hour.
Have a good night, Jim.
Good night, Jim. Well,
He was shocked a little bit, but I'm not sure exactly how shocked he was because he has dealt with him before, and anyone who's dealt with Biden knows he's been out of it since probably 2015.
He was
That's
a
why
lot
he
more
did it for one.
He was
in
relatively
2016.
formidable compared to this. He was very compared to this. He was devastatingly formidable in the one debate he did last time. But you get what I mean.
in
Yeah.
2020, you mean?
Yeah, in
formidable compared
2020,
to
he was
this.
a lot compared to this. A freaking orangutan with half his brain missing was formidable.
And the next day,
You
he
can
was
get
back at
anything
this
out of a
time.
monkey house and put a gun to his head, and he would have done a better job than Biden did.
My feeling is that he's probably the old Biden from like 10 to 4. But let's remember something. This is never an inspiring speaker. This is a guy who got his ass handed to him and fed to him in slices by Bill Clinton in an election where he got beaten so badly and embarrassed so badly that 25 years later, he went on a celebration anniversary tour of his ass kicking to get his ass kicked again by Obama, who found him to be a useful idiot. And he had to get, believe it or not, he had to get Biden off the field because even though no one liked Biden and Biden wasn't a good speaker, he excelled at attacking. He was making Obama look stupid.
That wasn't too hard if you get past the whole, oh, you must be racist for calling this black man a piece of shit, even though he's actually a piece of shit.
He might be. I would say this, though. He at least had I would think the media did more of that than other people. The media would come after you. Obama, I guess he knew they'd carry his water. I don't know how much he knew, but like he himself had a lot more charisma. I don't think anyone really disliked him at the time. Him and Bill Clinton have had the biggest change in perception since leaving office of any presidents in my life.
Yeah, because
Jimmy Carter's the only guy people
underneath
still
all
like.
the oily, underneath all that slick oil and the silver tongue, both of them huge douchebags.
Who's more popular, those two or George W. Bush?
Oh, those two. Because they had slick personalities. Well, hell, both Bushes.
He could read. They could read.
Yeah. They can read. They couldn't. They had the same personalities of if they made a statue of them.
They had to keep
to tell a
talking.
difference conversationally between them
Hey,
and the
Daniel.
bronze.
They had to keep talking about compassion because they really seemed to lack it. And they had to keep talking about emotion and feelings because they seemed to lack them. Both of them came off like simulacrums. And we're all sad about what happened to the Columbia when we lost our shuttle. And you know that like there were people there at the White House were very sad, but like we have the somber responsibility to write a speech worthy of these great explorers. And then they wrote this great speech, and then like the chief of staff read it and was like, "This is a great speech. Now rewrite it for our guy. He's a fucking idiot. This is a Reagan speech." And then they rewrote it to what they had, where he's like, "The George W. Bush Challenger speech actually contains the line, 'It is easy to underestimate the difficulties of travel by rocket. The fierce outer atmosphere of the Earth is a dangerous place.'" Thanks a lot, Mr. President.
Yeah. And Lemon, it only appears that she no longer cackles because they are editing it out of the newsreels. They will not show it on any of the mainstream media because it doesn't test well. She got hit real hard for having basically the laugh of the Wicked Witch of the West. So they just decided not to show it anymore. And hello, Drew.
Hey, Drew, and hey, Daniels.
You know what? Kamala Harris is trying really hard to undo the problems that she has with her speaking voice. And this is just like, you could hate her, and like I don't like advocate for her at all. But like the one thing I'll say is this: like there are certain things that we could talk about dispassionately. Her voice, her delivery, like we're born with a certain voice, we're born with a certain delivery. Some of us have maybe even been mocked for it, but like Kamala Harris is really like she just didn't make with the elocution lessons. She was told, stop ending sentences talking down like this. Stop saying things and going down in tone. You have this problem where, like, you know, people like people who end evenly or are speaking up. She speaks down at the end of the sentence. And she also has a real flat delivery that makes her seem like she might have something wrong with her as far as emotion. Like the emotion chip is missing. And like it's what psychiatrists call her affect. Like her personality just comes across as flat. Like if you took this woman out for dinner, she'd be like, "What do you want?" She's like, "Fries." "What?" "French fries. They're exotic."
Well, I would say this, Emerald, from what I hear from the 2020 debate, that one contender, her name escapes me, but the one from Hawaii destroyed her argument and her whole career of the 2020 election there.
You know what?
Yeah, she
I
did.
understand why you guys think that, but the truth is, even though Tulsi Gabbard may have won that argument in the minds of rational people, she was never supposed to be a Democrat. She's not a Democrat. She holds no views in common with the Democrats. The Democrats never, ever, ever liked her. And she went in there to mix things up. And it's worth mentioning that she has met with Trump both times he's run to talk about being in his cabinet, and would have been a better vice president pick than Vance as far as helping him out with stuff he needs. I don't see how I don't mind JD Vance, but I don't see how he advances Trump's cause.
Well, Vance, I don't
He
even know how the
secures
whole.
Ohio.
Hey, does anybody know how that whole couch thing started with him?
I have no idea. It's as stupid
Mother
as that
smoked
whole
a lot of
weird
meth
thing.
He says his mother
Yeah.
smoked a lot of meth.
Well, no, there's a thing going around that he, let's just say he had relations with the couch.
It's probably a goof. He's a weird hillbilly. I can believe that he got wasted and got naked and took a picture of himself doing a couch or even a computer.
No, so he's like Hunter.
He's a weird fucking guy. He's such a weird guy. If we found a college picture of him trying to stick his dick into the 16-pin like connector for your printer to your computer back then, I'd be like, "Yep, that's JD Vance." All right. And like you'd find people like, "Yep, that was my frat brother, JD Vance. He was fucking crazy, man. Great guy. I love funnel." What do you call him? Funnel? Oh, he only funneled beer. He never touched a bottle with his lips in 4 years. He only funneled beer.
Admiral Tiga, you're mainly the political expert here. I mean, I try to stay out of politics. Mainly, I mean, I'm mostly ignorant about it anyway. I just admit myself, but because I really don't want to get into politics hardly at all. But tell me, is Vance more on the extreme side than Trump is? I mean, from what a vice president, no matter what party, is supposed to sort of unite the party roughly. Is that true, or
No, the
or
vice president is supposed to either counter the president's problems or be the like if your president is seen as having no foreign policy experience or having no experience in Congress, you get someone who can kind of do that. So look at Obama, kind of new, right? So they got Biden to be his VP. It looks good on paper. It's kind of older, and like one of them has like, a lot of experience and is an operator, and like Obama's from Hawaii. Geography plays in. He's from Hawaii and Kenya, I believe, as well as Chicago. So he had the Kenyan and Chicago and people in Hawaii who voted for him were most likely to vote for Obama. And then, Biden at that time, and we're talking like a long time ago, like 71-year-old Joe Biden was like a spry 71-year-old who was just like a 50-year-old who looked a little older. And they called him up and said, will you do this? And he lasered back his teeth and got a few more hair plugs and got some contact lenses and just, went out there and he chopped up Paul Ryan.
yeah, because from what I hear from certain commentators, that the president and the vice president the vice president is supposed to be the negotiator along with the boss man to try to unite the party together to make the party cohesive.
You can use three different philosophies to create a vice president. One would be just pure geography, right? Like we have two guys, they may or may not be the same. If they're the same, it doesn't matter. But one guy's from California and one guy's from New York. You got both coasts locked in. You know what I mean? Boom. The other way is like total heartland ticket or total East Coast ticket or total West Coast ticket. So full regionalism. And one guy is one side of the spectrum and the other guy is the other side of the spectrum. And then the other one is just wild cards where you mix and match different traits of both. I really don't where is JD Vance from? He's from like one of the few parts of America
Ohio.
that yeah, but he's from he's not an Ohio native. He's from Kentucky, and he's like a good old boy. He's like a Bubba. And I don't say there's anything wrong with any of those things, but he's just atypical and a weird frat dude sort of guy who's going to get him votes in places he was already going to win. And I don't necessarily think that he is typical of Ohio. But I don't know how much of Ohio is there are parts of Ohio that border on Kentucky, but parts of Ohio border on New York.
It's mainly to lock up Ohio, and it's not that Ohio are all good old boys, but it's more that they are very, very pissed off at the establishment of that state.
I believe that we have been gerrymandered to a point where we will not get a legitimate outcome, even if no matter who wins, we all lose, because I think we've been gerrymandered to the point of non-democracy, but that's me.
Well, that's sort of the point. The winning party draws the maps they want to stay in power or to get more power after they're kicked out.
But only every 10 years.
You know what? There have been, you have a census, but the thing is, you can find a way to loop around. We saw the Republicans have embarrassing people that they didn't want around. They used to get rid of them. Remember, what was his? Well, who is the kook from Florida? The guy, the former military guy, black guy, Allen something or other. He was he was a military truck driver who went off mission, didn't deliver the supplies, kidnapped and beat up some locals, acted crazy. Some people shot at your trucks. It's understandable. You're at war. You just get you don't need to stop your mission, double back and attack some people. So what the Florida and it's not me who didn't have faith in him. It was his own Republican Party that ran Florida, man. They threw his district 75 miles away from where his power base was so that they could get rid of him. They wanted him to lose. And I missed when we would get rid of people who were stigmatizing. Because Alan West probably belongs on the internet, but he did I don't know if he's great in government.
I don't know what he's up to now.
Alan, call us. You could be on the show next week. But the point is, the Florida Republican Party were the ones that decided they wanted him to go away. He was
you can't always trust the state party, though, because we technically have Republicans in the state of Washington. They willingly aligned with Democrats to basically eliminate 3 Republican congressional seats in my county.
They sent him from like Miami to Hialeah, though. He was like 80 miles from where he started out.
Yeah, it would seem that on the West Coast regions, the R party's been in controlled opposition nowadays. It is on the West Coast. It is.
All I can say is this about
Yeah.
Alan West: if they liked him, why does own people put him up against Debbie? What's her name? Schultz. The one person from Florida who's definitely going to win. You know what I mean, or at least was at that point.
Yeah, not so much now.
You know what? Alan West, I mean, I hate to say it. Some people did admire him. He wrote a book that sold well. If you liked him, good for you. A lot of people thought he was a dick, and his own Republican Party was just like, we got to get rid of him. He's a little bit of a fucking, too much of a fucking wild man.
Well,
that sounds
was-
like
He's been,
Back
And ladies
when
and gentlemen,
Turtle
he's been off
Man
the scene.
was the head of the party.
you know what? Turtle Man had a lot of time left as head of the party, too. This is going back a long time. He's been gone a long time.
Yeah, but
Please don't write me getting angry if you
Yeah.
bought his book. I mean, I guess it's
Guys
all right. I'm
like-
just saying, like, that's what happened to his own Republican Party. Kind of didn't want him around.
yeah,
yeah,
I
and
don't really trust the Republican Party because they got guys like that Turtle. John McCain was a big part of the Republican Party. He was a goddamn bastard.
You know what? John McCain was an amazing
war hero. He
was
was
an
not a
amazing
war hero.
war
He
hero.
got shot down. He got.
But-
he fucking
but-
did
But on
propaganda for
Mondays,
the
Wednesdays, and Fridays, he made sense. You know what I mean? Like he
the
was
days
like,
he didn't
remember?
work.
No, I mean, do you remember how he would just completely like have a different stance the next day, and then come back the day after with the stance from Monday? Then on Thursday, it's like yet another crazy far-flung stance, and like Friday back to the stance from Monday. Like he would just, like wildly erratic on all issues all the time. McCain.
Yeah, because he is saying exactly what Mitch the bitch told him to say every time. And
He
at a
would
certain
know more
point,
about
Mitch
it
was
than
just
me.
saying that, oh, go ahead and say he's just saying random things to have all his little patsies go out there and spout.
John, I need to go in there and talk like you're totally insane. You got it, Mitch.
Yeah, I gotta say, tell me, McCain was a rhino, yes.
Yeah,
Tell me,
like
just
half of the party what used to be. Now it's slightly less than half, but there's still a shit ton of rhinos in there.
I do have a question. Tell me, and Admiral Teague probably knows the answers to this too. I mean, yeah, I'm turning to Admiral Teague for mainly my political information anyway. Why are all our representatives so damn old? Like if you look at the Senate Minority Leader McConnell is somewhere in his 80s or mid to late 80s. He's been in Congress for
No, he's not.
for over 40 years. Why does he not retire and let some
He's
younger
not that
guy?
old though. He's significantly younger than you're saying. He's not young. He's younger than Biden though, by like a few years. The thing is, Biden isn't quite as old as he came off. Like I saw Mick and Keith, who are older, pull off a 2-hour concert in 2 different cities, and it bookended around that debate. And I was just like, how could these people who have done so many drugs be fine and Biden be a total goddamn rack?
Yeah, it seems like that the oldies just say over my cold dead hands now when it comes to power and all that.
Who's to say? I just know that no matter who wins this one, half of everyone's going to be upset, and the polls are already looking nebulous and strange and questionable.
Mitch the bitch is 82 years old.
Thanwe you.
I call him
don't-
Cocaine Mitch. No, we were talking not Mitch the bitch, whose age was a question. I was we were talking about who was the Chuck Schumer was the person who I was saying is only about 70, 72.
Chuck
Chuck
Schumer is the Senate majority leader. I was talking
Majority
about
leader, yeah.
I was talking about the minority leader. McConnell. Yeah, that
I
one.
thought I heard you say Schumer's name.
No, and from what I hear from channels like I can't say his name, Red Eagle Politic, Mitch McConnell is a swamp creature and a total rhino. He is.
He is. That's never been in question. He's about as much as a Republican as Nancy Pelosi is.
A Democrat, in other words.
Yeah.
Nancy Pelosi, I consider a very good Republican. She's a member of that uniparty that just does what's good for rich people.
Yeah, they
Like,
don't want to give up
I'm not
power. That's
saying they
why
can-
they stick around.
Does anyone really think we have two totally different parties, or do we have two parties where like one's a little bit okay and one is totally horrible? Isn't that a little close to the truth?
They're the same party. They just play pretend so that people think they have a choice.
So you vote for the person who panders
Unfortunately,
to you.
yeah.
That's where we're at, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Let's
There
not
are
put
some
anybody down,
outliers out there that have to work within that system, but the system itself is so jury-rigged to be for the neocon and neolib section of the two parties that everyone else is a rounding error.
Yeah, but
when you say neocon, are you using the original form of the word where it was John McCain and other people who were not conservatives, and also Hillary Clinton, people who weren't conservatives who switched to support the Iraq War, the original neocons? Or are you talking about the new conservatives?
No, the new conservatives would be the populists.
Okay, so
The
the
neocons
neocons
are
you mean Johnson,
McCain.
McCain,
yeah,
Hillary, Chuck
yeah.
Schumer, my senator from my part of the woods, and my real
Yeah.
father.
Yeah. I would dispute that as much as you can. I wouldn't want to be related to him in any way, shape, or form.
You know what it's
Yeah,
like
Jack-
having to see cousin Amy at family reunions?
yeah, and judging about how unpopular he is, even to his own voters, they hate him.
He's actually he would win if he ran again. I'm sorry to say. I think he's actually fairly popular. He doesn't come off very well. I've seen him shaking hands at the street fairs though. He goes out there and does the work. He knows that 100% of the most effective political tool is shoe leather. He goes out there and he says hi to people, man. He makes a presence of himself.
Yeah, that doesn't always help though, because
Yeah,
our
well-
governor here, old little Adolf Inslee, he does a lot of that stuff, and they have to control who actually gets near him, because
We
when
had
they
that
don't,
problem with
people
Cuomo.
spit on the son of a bitch.
Jeez, we had a problem with that with our guy Andrew Cuomo, but he was like asking women to spit in that thing like hawk to a.
Hey, then you got Bill Clinton going, I did not have hot tua on with that girl.
No, actually, that was a really good lie. We have to give him credit for that. He said he did. What he said was because he had hawk to it with the girl, he didn't have sex because the Bible defines sex as intercourse, which he didn't have. So Bill Clinton is such a great liar that I want to say all of us who lie should aspire to lie as well as Bill Clinton, because what he does is like, I'm going to tell a mistruth. Better come up with a plausible way out of it first. How can I have sex and deny it?
You gotta give him credit for one thing. Takes a lot of balls there to look a prosecutor straight in the eye and tell them to define the word is.
Well,
Fucked
he
up
was the
how-
president.
it's
He
fucked up
couldn't
how-
get punched in the face. Anyone
No,
else
I'm
gets
going to be
punched in
honest
the
with
face.
you. It was Ken Starr. It was like a really tough question. I mean, and his career was on the ropes. Like, I don't know why, but like, let me just put it this way: like, because he was probably really, really good as a lawyer, right? Bill Clinton's super lawyer. Once he becomes a politician, he's like a super duper lawyer, right? So once he gets into a thing where it's adversarial over words and splitting hairs over the meaning of the words, he's going to win that one every time. Does anyone think I'm wrong? You want to split hairs with Bubba Bill, he's going to win. Does anyone really think I'm wrong?
Against a lot of like the DC insiders, yeah.
And
If
plus,
you're
he's going to
talking to
do
anyone
better
with talent-
research.
Well, yeah, he had a team of researchers.
He was also smart as a fucking monkey.
Well, yeah,
He
he's
was
spent
smart as
decades
fuck.
cheating on Hillary, and he didn't get himself shot.
That was the other thing that saved him in this one, is that he had the most unpopular first lady as his wife, and people were like, the president has cheated on Hillary, and they're like, yeah, no shit. And they're like, and then like the next thing that came out was like, she likes dudes. We thought that was, fake. And so it was just like, nobody felt all that bad for her. And he was like, I feel bad. I cheated on my wife. And I was like, yeah, maybe for your kid.
Yeah, no one felt
I-
bad for Hillary.
I gotta say
Ever.
this, that in 2016, the Democrats chose the perfect candidate for Trump.
Maybe he wanted to stay alive, Germ. People who piss her off, It's like, I've just pissed off a very dangerous murderer.
Yeah, and Trump winners are in the 2016 election.
Well, hey, Trump ended Hillary's streak, some are saying, right? There's, what is it, like 35
Yeah.
people? And so now she's 35 for 36. Still doing really good. I wouldn't want to fuck with her. Director Ray, we're just joking around. It's all done in good humor with Director Ray. We love you, Director Ray. We think that fidelity, brotherhood, and integrity is the way to run an organization.
Please don't rat us out to the IRS.
Go ahead. We have nothing.
But I know that really doesn't mean shit to the IRS.
The fine for withholding nothing is the fine for withholding nothing is like 10 times nothing. I've got that right now.
All right, Jeremy, I gotta get going.
Yeah. Okay, we'll start wrapping up then. You want to pitch before you go?
Well, tonight, people, we are watching some gold getting fingered there by Sean Connery. There, and he goes by the alias of James Bond. Then tomorrow we are doing the Matchmaker,
right?
With the Walton's review. I should be around. Saturday, do DS9, and then on Saturday there I should be or Sunday we are doing The Godfather. But so have a good night, everybody, and there.
Okay.
Good night, Jeremy.
So, good night, Gorilla. Dan, you want to whatever you got going on?
All right, to all your viewers and chatters that know me or don't know me, the panelists that know me or don't know me, Sci-Fi Sit Dan here. I usually cover different sci-fi TV shows or movies. I do other universe crossover ideas, among other things. Just type in my subtitle underneath my avatar. My YouTube channel should pop up for you guys to check it out. I do my Transformers Prime TV show reviews Friday nights at 8 o'clock after Grill's Walton stream. And if either you want to join in, if any of you are Transformers fans, I know Jim will try to tune in towards the latter half. And I do my live streams on Saturdays now from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific time. And I try to upload a new video on YouTube every Monday or Tuesday, depending what time it is. And that's all for to keep up with the algorithm on YouTube and to keep my audience engaged. And that's all I have to say about my channel. I'll turn over to Admiral T to give his promotion to save Star Trek or whatever he's trying to save this week.
Go for it, Tig.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Am I muted? Okay, cool. Hey, everybody. It's me, your buddy, Admiral Teague. I've been upping my game lately.
Admiral,
time. Please join the channel, enjoy my fleek. A lot of people seem to be doing so. This week, we have Enterprise breaking the ice for our Saving Star Trek watch party. It's a good episode. I really enjoy it. Hopefully, Jerem will be there with me and the rest of our Star Trek panel. Also, check out the uploads and outtakes from the conversation during the live stream. What we do is we get on US 9:30. We stay on till about US 11 p.m., at which time we take shelter on X because the ion storms get out of control. We can lose all our engagement right there. We have very successful watch parties. Then we go to X. We do a lot of further analysis after we get as far as we can on YouTube. We finish rating it. Then we go to X to sort of kick around the esoterics of it. And I got to be a better time manager with it, but it's been a lot of fun. And we got some fruitful uploads. Look forward to the worst thing News Trek could do, featuring Resolute Germ, myself, and JT Kirk. I think I wove a pretty effective horror story with my idea, didn't I?
Yeah.
So Germ didn't sleep after that. But yeah, check my channel out. There it is. Thanks, Germ.
Okay. Thanks everyone for stopping by. We'll be back on Saturday with Saturday morning cartoons. Still have a chance to go vote for what cartoon we watch. Right now, surprisingly, still in the lead. Where on Earth is Carmen Sandiego is beating both Beetlejuice and The Legend of Zelda. So if you want to watch one of those other two, go vote against freaking Where on Earth is Carmen Sandiego. And after that, we got Andromeda on Tuesdays, and we'll be back for another Nerd Night Roundtable on Thursday. And at least one or two other uploads of like cartoon intros and other stuff throughout the week. So look out for those. Take care, everybody.
Yeah.
Go Raid Gorilla.
Good night, everyone.